and we come to the element of fire. This element is seen as difficult and most often actually feared. It's something that humans tend to do, isn't it? I don't fear it, but I do respect it. Obviously, it's a hot material, and it's a fire of any kind: the sun, lava, volcanoes, ovens. I mean, it's the symbol of pure brilliance. Avet, heat in Welsh, fire or light. It also comes in smoke and ashes, and it's purifying, but brings knowledge. The Fae are the fire drakes. The fire drakes are small dragons, very beautiful creatures. And the salamanders, and people often kind of mistake salamanders, because I know they're out there saying, oh, that we now call a little lizard a salamander that is water and land, but no, this is the salamanders of the astral plane of fire. Now, usually some people say swords or wands in the tarot deck. In Nordic mythology, the dwarf Desure was south for fire, or Desurai. And the Celts, they used white as their colour for the castle. The Mayans would use yellow. Some Mexican cultures would use blue. Native Americans, they would probably have fire as, I think, red. Yes, red. Red and the mouse. I think the keeper was, hang on, I'm thinking, Shonodesi, something along them lines, I think. I'll have a look and get back to you, but it's definitely something like that. Now, Enochian and Kabbalistic, it's the Archangel Michael, and it is the white castle. It is the red triangle, and it's brilliant and burning. However, it's also very important because what fire does, it evaporates. Therefore, it forms into other elements. So they combine. The elementals will be seen dancing in the flames, if you obviously are wanting them and look for them. The Scottish and Irish will have this a white colour. It's very good for expanding the consciousness, I would say. And the colours in general, green and red. And it's extremely spiritual in nature. Summer and noon are the best times in which to work with fire elementals. And it has the property of hot and light, obviously. There are power animals of light, which are horses, the phoenix, the fire phoenix, and the unicorn, the fire unicorn. Bear in mind, these beings generally do have one for every element. So just bear that in mind, that even though they won't be talked about, they'll be talked about in their strongest element. There is quite a few. Now, the power animals you can use in the dark time are the owl, the raven, the crow, and the bull for strength, the bull. There's the dragon of red flames, and there's the dragon of ethereal flames. Now, it's about fire magic. It can bring lightning magic, rainbows, the stars, the blood, your blood, bloodlines, the sun, light and ash. Leo, Sagittarius and Aries obviously are the signs with the fire. On their positive note, they do have willpower and courage and strength, and they dare to do. They are the dare to do signs, and their leadership is strong. On a negative side, they're egotistic. They tend to draw negativity. They can have jealousy and hate and anger. Excuse me, guys. Bear in mind that there's a positive and negative to all people. It does not mean that's in them. It just means it'd be in their shadow side, and it's not something that you're going to see. But nevertheless, I'm just kind of explaining. So, candles are extremely associated with fire, obviously, because, well, they have a flame, and it's a flame that we're working with. Ashes, the incense burner itself burned herbs as well, anything that's burned really, or even paper that is burnt. That this is all related to fire magic. You can do it to make changes in your life. You can do it to help with authority and justice matters, fulfillment. You can destroy negativity because it purifies. It will bring wisdom, passion, sensuality, strength, lust, and freedom. But it can also aid with confidence, people that are lacking confidence. Now, the spirits and the elementals, they represent the sun. And there's some very interesting ones in with the fire properties. Now, so I guess they say that the leader of the fire is the Jinn. Now, in some cultures they are the leaders, but not every culture as far as I know. There's different ones. There's Ulsvedra and I think it's Arvicar. That's the Nordic ones, meaning very quick, early awake. Ulsvedra and I'm trying to remember it. Arvicar. I think it's Arvicar. I'll have a look, but what I'll do is I'll pop them in description because unfortunately what happens is I have to decipher in code and it takes me a while. Now, what I can say from memory is dead easy, but when you're decoding things and trying to write them down, it's a little bit harder. Memory's not so great, but writing it down is worse. Now, those two, even though meaning wake early and quick, they're supernatural horses that pulled the sun chariot. Obviously, Sol was responsible for driving the chariot because of her beauty, and her father was very much the braggart, so that did work its way into there. He was boasting about her. So she controlled them, and the magic that you can use them for is finding new paths within your life, finding a new road to take, a new journey to uncover, I guess. And it's also used for stress and sort of pressure, you know, being able to handle any pressure you become under, any stress. It can also help with that. So then we have Kymera, which is a Greek word. It originated from Greek. Chimera. So it's, well, I think there's Chimera and Chimera. A goat woman, she-goat, basically. But the original name is Kymera, or Chimera. It depends which culture you go to how it's pronounced. Chimera is, well, she's a winter actually, but today she's used in fire because she brings illusion. She fabricates things from fire, fabricates things of the mind, and also, you know, it's to do with meditation. But you'll find this in the Mediterranean areas, this being. But her original name is Kymera, but it's been changed now to Chimera and Chimera. But it depends where you go to how it's pronounced. Now, she was born to Typhoon, who was originally described. The front part was goat, the tail of a dragon. Some say 3 heads. Some say dragon and lion tail. And then it changed to, well, to half goat, half human, I guess. And I think it stayed that way now for a while. Now, also there's another form of her, and that is where she is a woman, but she has the head of a goat sticking out of the middle of her back, breathing fire, and that's medieval Europe, I believe. She's very dangerous, and she really shouldn't, sorry, that's just a message off the government regarding the lockdown. You should not, don't mess with her, please. She can hide your fears. If you are a very skilled magician, very skilled at magic, then fair enough. She will hide your fears from others, but bear in mind, she'll turn on you in blink of an eye. She'll just turn on you. She's not evil, but she does not trust humans, so she works on a negative basis with us. Doesn't mean she works with the elementals negatively. It's just with us, obviously. I do apologise if I fumble my words sometimes, but understand that I'm literally just sat here thinking, so sometimes it takes a while for my brain to take. Not all there. Now we're onto the fire drakes. They are lovely. They spend their time in the flames, definitely in the physical flames that we have. They're very small members of the dragon family. They're only like, oh gosh, they're about no more than 6, maybe 7 at the most inches. Some are quite small, some are 3 inches. They're all very different, but they're all very beautiful. They are definitely friendly. Do befriend them. Find them and befriend them. They'll stay with you for life. You will have one that picks you and stays with you for life. And when you're doing magic and you've got your fire lit and you're sort of doing your magic, they will sit on your altar and they will move the flames. By moving the flames, this means that you can communicate with them for yes and no by working it out yourself, obviously. Right, yes, left, no, such and such. And you'll see if you have a fire drake, you'll see, because they will show you through flame. They will make the flames do very crazy things. You'll know. They will come in a physical form. You'll be able to see them. It's not like that you can see them and no one else can. Sometimes how it works with fire drakes when they're cared for properly is with you being by their side, they entrust you to show them to others, if you understand what I mean. So it's not just that you see them, it's highly possible that when gaining trust, they can be introduced, which is kind of cool, isn't it? They like to play with the flames and they like to play with candles. There's no reason that you shouldn't work with a fire drake. Honestly, they're absolutely cute and just amazing little creatures. They are very childlike, definitely. They're very fun and frolicky. And remember, they're only small, so they're not like the wise ones, which are the large dragons, which if you ever meet an ethereal large dragon of any kind, never call it a dragon. I just want to mention that, and we'll get into that, but never, don't call it a dragon. They are called the wise ones until they give you your name. They will give you a name to call them. That's when they trust you enough. Now, with the fire drakes, they will give you a name eventually, so, don't assume. They will give you one. Now, they come, but they don't like anger or shouting, anything like that. It scares them and they would run away. But they will be your guide. They will literally be your guide into the astral realm. They'll protect you and they'll help with any spell. If it's a flame, they're there. Bingo. Cute. Then there's the fire fae. The fire fairies are fireplaces and campfires, candles. I mean, they're wherever there's a fire, they're there. And these are quite different. They don't wear clothes. Their eyes are usually very, very big. They're breathtaking. When you see one and you see their eyes, you'll know that's what you're seeing because their eyes are like diamonds. They're very dark, but like diamonds. They're only around maybe 3 inches at the most. They're very tiny. Quite pale as well. You will be able to notice that the face is much paler to the rest because usually their hair's bright red or bright orange. Some can have a tinge of blue in them, but you'll know because their face is very pale compared to their hair. They love to dance in flames, and they will communicate the same way as fire drakes, for yes or no, and they'll help you. They're friendly enough. They're not bad or anything like that, so they're good to work with, all the fire fae. They won't stick around for life or anything like that, but they will come and help because they just love the fire. Now, they are the safest to work with because they're not unpredictable and they will go, etc. And they will bring wishes. They can help with shape shifting. They can help with divination, and they can also help you seek your true desires. Kind of cool. Okay, now we'll go on to Hudie and Skull from Nordic. Yeah, Hudie and Skull from Nordic mythology. Yeah, giant wolves. So Huddy or Huddy is the despiser or the hater and runs before the chariot of the sun chasing the moon. Skull is mockery and runs before the chariot of the moon and chases the sun. At Ragnorok, or at the time of the end, the Nordic people believed that these wolves will capture and devour celestial bodies that leave the earthly plane. Take care when calling them. They are great for harassment and retribution. The problem is they do not stop at revenge. So they will bring about retribution for unnecessary harassment, but once you've called upon them, you need to know they will mentally destroy a person. And that's something I could never live with, doing that. So I would never advise that you work with these beings, because they don't stop. They don't stop until there's nothing to go at. Salamanders. Salamanders. The Greek word for salamander is Solumbay, which means fireplace. So that's why they are called salamanders, because they were called Solumbays. Now today, obviously, it's linked with a lizard in water, the complete opposite to what it actually originally was, which is kind of odd. They will also live in the flames. They do actually like, I think it's lava is their favourite, or volcanic regions are their most favourite places. But any campfires and stuff, that tends to draw them. But if people do remember, if they've done this research, excuse me, Paracelsus actually wrote how he believed that these salamanders appeared in balls of light when it was storming, and also in Elmo's fire. So I'm not sure if anybody knows of that or has researched into it. I quite like Paracelsus, but there's quite a few writings that are fairly old that I do like, because I think there's hidden meaning. That's why. So yeah, if you go look at Paracelsus, I'll pop him in the description. Very interesting person to read about, absolutely. These are actually said to be quite unruly, not really recommended, because they're difficult to dismiss, and they like to cause mischief, so they're very mischievous, and you would need extreme knowledge to work with them. They're not that easy to work with. They will come and aid, but you have to know what you're doing to rid them, because if you can't get rid of them, you're in trouble, because you're stuck, and they are mischievous. They will cause fires for no apparent reason. So then we have the, I don't know if, sorry, before I go on, for example, when we look at hauntings, and this is just a theory, it's just a thought, I'm not saying it is, some hauntings, fire appears from nowhere, does it not? What if it's just a salamander? I mean, that's what they do. They cause fires. They like fire. They don't. It's not like they're trying to kill somebody. It's just that that's their domain. Just a theory. That's all. Then we have the Thunderbird. Native American. I'm sure you all know the Thunderbird, but there's actually more than one. So they live above the clouds, and their eyes create lightning and wind and thunder. They are not to be worked with at all. They are enemies of all evil. Yeah, they are very hard to work with. And it's said that to call them in would be very draining on you and bring you regret within your life. But if you actually look into the Thunderbird, or the bird above the clouds, there's actually quite a few of them, not just one. Seven-headed sun horse from Hindu. Ivavisvat, shape-shifted into human form and married Semermes. Each head represents each chakra. So the seven-headed horse is in Hindu mythology, and there's still things today where you will find this picture on artifacts and such, but she's known to be as Vestia, and she did shapeshift into human and went and married Semermes. Now they did have children, etc., but you can work with her for your enlightenment or shapeshifting, and she'll work with your chakras. That's what she is good at. She's good at sort of unblocking chakras, closing chakras, bringing enlightenment through your chakras. So those are probably all I'm going to do on the fire, because to be fair, the others, you wouldn't really class them as that, and you can't work with them anyway. So, I mean, like the fire dragons, for example. With a fire dragon, gosh, calling a fire dragon in, and we don't call them dragons, we would call them wise ones, can be difficult because they can be quite temperamental and quite destructive. I mean, they go back centuries anyway, do fire dragons. Now, ethereal dragons, they come to you. You don't call them in. But any dragon, no matter what element it is, and if you do acquire an ethereal helping of a dragon for protection and such, please remember, do not call him a dragon. You call him a wise one, and you bow to him, and you always put up a circle of protection, because if he gets angry at you, then you want to be in that circle, trust me. It's about building a relationship up with any larger ethereal dragon or element dragon, because they don't trust us. I mean, it's just the same as with everything. They don't trust us. It's us. We've ruined it, you know. It's not so much their fault, really, when you think about it. We ruined it. We did. We just ruined it. So it takes time to build and create that relationship with them. But if you do, and you have one, and they give you their name, they will stay with you for as long as they are needed. If you suddenly find that the wise one's gone, this is because it is needed elsewhere, and it may return and it may not. Various things. It's complicated with the wise ones because they do tend to choose you, and I wouldn't advise calling a fire one in, because they can be very, very temperamental and quite destructive when they feel like it. So yeah, there's the fire element, some funny things in there. I'll list them in the description so that you can have a nosy through history and see what it's all about. Many blessings.